Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the February 11th, 2025 council meeting. As the clerk announced this morning, the council will now take up item 5, the public hearing on the comprehensive solid waste program, and then move on to our agenda item number 4, the public hearing for Bill 1-25, Emergency Medical Services Transport Insurance Reimbursement Program. All right, so now on to our agenda item number 5. This is a public hearing on a resolution to approve the Comprehensive Solid Waste Management Plan 2025 to 2034. A Transportation and Environment Committee work session will be scheduled for a later date. Those wishing to submit material for the council's consideration should do so by the close of business on February 20th, 2025. Each registered speaker for this hearing will have 3 minutes to speak. You will hear a tone when your time is up, and we appreciate everyone abiding by their allotted time. The first 5 speakers or we'll call up, I guess, the first 6, I think we have in person. We have Ms. Rebecca Smondrowski, James Walters, Karen Metches, Carolina Taylor, Diana Conway, and Lauren Greenberger. Ms. Stromdrowski, you can start when you're ready.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. So nice to see you all. Montgomery County has long been a leader in responsible waste management, and our resource recovery facility stands a testament to that commitment. More than 25 years ago, council members, including Ike Leggett, decided this county was going to manage its own waste and not send it into someone else's backyard to become their challenge. Our recycling rates are among the highest in the county or in the country, actually. And while we must strive to do better and do more, we should also be proud of and not apologetic for the systems that we have in place today. The RRF in Dickerson provides enough electricity to power 26,000 homes annually and secures vital state funding that offsets costs for our county. In fiscal year 2024 alone, the facility generated $12.234 million in renewable energy credits for the county. 2025 revenue is estimated to be approximately $10 million. Given the enormous budget shortfalls of the state and our county and the lack of in-state electricity generation, we should be supporting our system that not only generates in-state electricity, but also provides significant revenue for the county. While some advocate for landfilling as a better alternative, the EPA, European Union, and United Nations waste hierarchies all place landfilling as the least preferable way to manage waste. The climate impact alone is compelling. Landfills are the 3rd largest source of methane in the country, a short-lived greenhouse gas far more potent than CO2. Our resource recovery facility also recovers metals, which would be lost if sent to a landfill. And these materials are sold in the scrap metal market, further generating revenue for the county. Additionally, our current system keeps trucks off of local roads by using rail to move our waste from Shady Grove to Dickerson. Switching to long-haul waste disposal would increase traffic congestion and associated emissions and require significant capital expenditures. Any alternative to WTE, whether expanded landfilling or unproven emergent technologies, would increase costs for taxpayers with no additional environmental benefit. If the council decides that landfilling is truly a better alternative than the RRF, then we should be doing it here in Montgomery County, where we have a designated permitted site in the Ag Reserve and rail infrastructure to support it. Until science advances to provide a significantly better solution, we must continue to support our existing WTE facility as the most effective and responsible option. I urge the County Council and other decision makers to stand behind this facility, ensuring that the Montgomery County remains a leader in sustainable waste management while protecting both our environment and our budget. Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Walters.
Honorable council members, Montgomery County has long been a leader in technology, sustainability, and economic development, and today presents an opportunity to build on that legacy and to transform the challenge of the incinerator into a national model for waste to value. Our initiative involves more than replacing an incinerator. It's about building an advanced biotech hub that converts waste into clean energy, advanced materials, and biomedicines, all without combustion, all while generating high-paying jobs and long-term economic growth. Innovation clusters like North Carolina's Research Triangle, Boston's Kendall Square, and San Diego's Biotech Corridor all began as targeted R&D initiatives backed by public-private collaboration. Today, those regions each generate billions of dollars in GDP, attracting top talent and anchoring global industry and investment. Montgomery County has the opportunity to do the same thing for waste to value, ensuring that the economic and environmental benefits stay right here, supporting Maryland businesses, researchers, and workers. Over the past several months, I've engaged with county leadership, DEP officials, and economic development experts, all of whom have provided valuable guidance on structuring an approach that aligns with Montgomery County's priorities. Through mentorship at Bethesda Green, I've worked to refine this initiative and explore how it can integrate into the county's existing climate and economic development goals. Unlike traditional infrastructure projects, this R&D-backed approach scales in parallel with existing operations. This is not about delaying action. It's about ensuring that every dollar spent today builds a foundation for long-term success. The systems of technologies is not speculative. It is already being commercialized across different sectors. Montgomery County can pilot these solutions within the existing development framework of the incinerator, integrating our current county initiatives like composting, methane to fuel cell projects, and energy resilience strategies. Procurement flexibility under COMCOR 11B-4F allows Montgomery County to explore an R&D-driven strategy alongside traditional procurement methods. Establishing a clear framework for collaboration would ensure that the county retains control over the long-term economic and ecological benefits while leveraging public and private funding sources similar to the investments supporting Morgan State's climate research initiatives. To continue our momentum, I urge and welcome the opportunity to host a meeting at Bethesda Green in collaboration with DEP leadership, the Chief Administrative Officer, and the County Executive's Office to align on a strategy that, 1, keeps Montgomery County at the forefront of waste-to-value industry, 2, creates a regenerative, zero-waste economic and ecologic model through commercialization, one that aligns with existing county-funded biotech and clean energy priorities, and attracts new investment, research talent, and industry partners. Montgomery County has the opportunity to lead the nation in transforming waste into energy, advanced materials, and biomanufacturing. I look forward to continuing this conversation and working together to maximize this opportunity for our county and its residents. Thank you for your time and leadership.
Thank you very much, Mr. Walters. Now I have Ms. Metchus.
Good afternoon. I'm testifying today on behalf of the Climate Coalition Montgomery County. We support the resolution to approve the Comprehensive Solid Waste Management Plan with one very important amendment. The introduction to the plan says the county will select an end-of-life disposal method following implementation of all diversion programs and technologies. This is our biggest concern with the plan. In order to expedite closing the incinerator, this plan should be modified to reflect that the alternative end-of-life disposal method would be implemented to the extent possible simultaneously with implementation of other diversion programs, not after they're all in place. Doing them sequentially assumes incinerator will stay open for 7 more years, which goes against stated goals of the county to minimize environmental and public health impacts, racial and social justice implications, and facility impact. If the DEP had the will to do it, they could take this year to notify the authority of their intent to close the incinerator, notify the council and MDE, and complete the associated administrative aspects. The following year, they could issue an RFP to haul trash to an acceptable landfill and do the reconfiguration needed to offload trash from garbage trucks to either rail cars or tractor trailers at Shady Grove, and then send them directly to one of the many approved and available landfills identified and vetted for the county that are described in the Beyond Incineration report. To repeat, the solid waste management plan should be modified to reflect that these operations would be implemented to the extent possible simultaneously, and the timeline for the incinerator closure will not be 7 years. In addition, we want to remind the council that this public hearing today is not sufficient for the public hearing we all need on the incinerator contract extension. For you to have a legal say regarding this extension, we have just learned that the council must introduce a resolution to consider the incinerator contract extension and then hold a public hearing in 14 days before approving it, all before March 25th. This requirement is glaringly missing from the information given on DEP's website. Whether this is an unintentional act of omission or an intentional act of commission is unclear. We need the resolution and public hearing on the contract extension so that the public can express their concerns and so the council can consider all pertinent information and decide the best path forward. Lastly, please hold DEP accountable on their promise during the recent briefing to provide all cost information that they promised, as noted in my written testimony. And thank you for advocating for us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I had Caroline Taylor next. Is she here? Oh, she's virtual now. Okay. So then I'll go to Ms. Conway.
Oh, I'm here. I'm here. If you want me to be.
Ms. Taylor, we'll do the in-person folks first, and then we'll switch to you. Okay?
Appreciate it. No problem.
No, thank you.
Good afternoon, Council President Stewart and council members. My name is Diana Conway. I'm testifying here tonight on behalf of Zero Waste Montgomery County. We're a countywide group of dedicated residents advocating for zero waste programs and for closing the trash incinerator in Montgomery County. We support the resolution to approve the Comprehensive Solid Waste Management Plan 25 to 34, but with amendments. Please reincorporate the two regulatory options that were included in the last plan. First, supporting the bottle bill legislation, and second, proposing local ordinances banning more materials such as single-use foodware. If DEP is serious about waste reduction strategies, these both should be central to our solid waste management plan. We've seen no justification for removing them. We also want to remind the council, as Karen mentioned, that today's public hearing is not a substitute for a public hearing on the contract extension for the incinerator that the Northeast Maryland Waste Disposal Authority negotiated on behalf of DEP. The DEP still has not furnished to you, the council, or to us, the public, any cost justifications for extending the contract or the implications to taxpayers of doing so. The DEP has not yet answered any of the questions, to my knowledge, that were posed at the briefing you convened here 2 weeks ago. They also have not answered any of the questions that we sent them more than a month ago. For you to properly evaluate the contract extension request, you need the information. How much will it cost to keep that aging incinerator running? How much more money will be needed to build out a new compost facility if the Dickerson yard trim facility is not used? Realistically, how long will it take to implement option 2C that the DEP laid out to you 2 weeks ago? This would be picking up our trash from Shady Grove and sending it to an acceptable landfill out of state. Given that determinative questions like these still have not been answered, and given that this contract extension goes into effect automatically on March 25th unless you act, we strongly urge you to act. Pass a resolution to deny the contract extension and then hold a public hearing so you can exercise your legal authority to prevent this contract extension. The only fiscally responsible course of action is to deny the extension until DEP provides the necessary information, the cost information, and a reasonable timeline. That's on DEP. It's worth noting that all the scenarios that Arcadis provided, with wide variations in complexity, magically require the same amount of time to implement, 7 years. As the legislative overlords, you must look hard at actually implementing a coherent solution and not just accept a generalized gauzy overview. So thank you for taking a stand and acting on behalf of all residents of the county.
Thank you. Ms. Greenberg? Can you turn on your mic, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, President Stewart and council members. So we support the 10-year plan, which is why we're supposed to be here, right? With one critical amendment. Take the language out of the plan, and it is in the plan, that says that waste reduction technologies must be fully implemented before moving from incineration to landfill. The plan should clearly aim to meet these two objectives concurrently, not sequentially. In other words, stop burning as soon as we can and work to reduce waste at the same time. So take that language out of the plan that says all this has to be done before we can stop incinerating. I'd also like to make a couple of comments about the incinerator. We do send trash, and you know that, out of state. We don't handle it here. We send that 150,000 tons of ash to Virginia already. So we're already dumping on another community. And landfills that capture methane gas do produce about half the greenhouse gases that our incinerator is producing. So some of the information here was not quite accurate. And our incinerator produces toxins that landfills basically don't, things like lead and mercury and formaldehyde and beryllium, et cetera. Anyway, we also support, as others have said, we support this need for a resolution that you need to bring forth and then hold a public hearing on this contract extension because you don't have the information you need. The the DEP has not answered any of the questions you asked 2 or 3 weeks ago. Where is the cost-benefit analysis that compares the staggering costs of keeping the incinerator open another 7 years? Where is the updated life cycle analysis that monetizes the health and environmental impacts of our incinerator? The life cycle analysis done for the county in 2021 showed these costs: $259 a ton for our incinerator versus $80 a ton for landfilling. Those are the monetized health and environmental costs. More than double. Almost triple. Finally, why do they think it's better to keep burning our trash and therefore be obligated to build a new composting facility at a site other than the yard trim facility, adding another $60 million to the already allocated $28 million? These are questions you need answered before you can judge whether or not to accept that contract extension. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone who came in person today. We will now move to our virtual participants in our public hearing. And first we have Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, President Stewart, and appreciate folks that are there in person, seeing some pretty heavy snow coming down here. Okay, I'm ready to go. I'm Caroline Taylor with Montgomery Countryside Alliance. And I am here in support of the 10-year plan and associate ourselves with the comments that you've heard already from colleagues. I do want to point out that the county has recently passed, to great and appropriate fanfare, legislation that allows for on-farm composting of food waste and certain farm materials. I served with colleagues on the Zero Waste Task Force several years ago, and dealing with what is a huge part of our waste stream in terms of food waste was a good part of our conversation. The 10-year plan emphasizes our interest in augmenting waste reduction strategies, and yet this particular aspect of food waste, dealing with food waste, is not highlighted, and I would like for that to be revisited. We'd like for it to be revisited. And now then to the subject that I have spent a lot of my professional career discussing, and that is the sole source, the federally designated sole source aquifer that serves most a third of our county, certainly all of the agricultural reserve and a number of our rural communities for their only source of drinking water. In section 537 of the plan, there's a discussion of Site 2 landfill in Dickerson as an alternative landfill site. Site 2 was chosen prior to 1998 when we achieved the EPA Region 3 designation of the sole source aquifer. It was acknowledged by then County Executive Doug Duncan that the understanding of the fragility of that resource would provide a significant, if not complete, barrier to ever utilizing that site as a landfill. So in the 10-year plan, it should be mentioned that the Site 2 is not a site that should be evaluated or considered as a landfill location. Our aquifer is at risk already with changes of climate change, and be clear that all of our water sources are going to be challenged with regard to climate change, even WSSC's source of the Potomac River. I'll spend more time talking to you in the future about the aquifer, about the groundwater. We've launched a Good Gift program thanks to funding from Montgomery County in part. You can find out more information for those members who are unfamiliar with it at mocogroundwater.org. But we very much appreciate the attention you're giving this, the potential refinements of the plan, as you've heard, so that we can really meet our collective goals with regard to resiliency and
Did we lose?
I don't know, did you lose me?
We lost you like just 2 seconds ago, if you want to
Well,
finish up your thought.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all of you. I look forward to some potential refinements in the plan so that we can actually meet our appropriate waste reduction goals and also our climate change resiliency, and I thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Mike Ewall.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Thank you for having me. My name is Mike Ewall. I'm the founder and executive director of Energy Justice Network. We're a national organization. And Zero Waste Montgomery County and Sugarloaf Citizens Association are two of our member groups in the county that we've been working closely with since the fire in 2016. I'm joining the others in calling on County Council to introduce a resolution to not sign the proposed 5-year incinerator contract extension until certain things can be determined. First, to get the cost of what that might involve, because they're talking about as much as $100 million to keep the incinerator open for another 5 years, which seems like a lot of good money after bad. And also to get the contract or to delay any contract approval until we get answers from DEP to the questions that Zero Waste Montgomery County and the County Council have both asked them. I was asking a question of DEP and of their consultants, Arcadis, at a recent DAFIG meeting for the Facilities Implementation Group in Dickerson area. And I got ignored. I was put in the chat. I know they saw it and no one answered it. But the question was, what would it take to come up with a what if the incinerator burned down tomorrow scenario? This is not an unrealistic scenario in that the same incinerator had a 2-week-long waste pile fire in late 2016. There was one at a similar plant in Fairfax County, Virginia, same company running it, that had a 2-week-long fire just a few months later that closed the plant down for 11 months. There was another one at the same company's plant in Doral, Florida, in Miami-Dade County, that burned for 3 weeks and closed up for good. And others have closed abruptly, like in Detroit in 2019. So what would the county do if the incinerator just, boom, wasn't there anymore to be available? They would have options. Waste would not pile up in the curb, I guarantee you. And it didn't for those 2 weeks when it happened in late 2016. And what we've been asking for is, what does that scenario look like? And what can we do to do a planned version of that that is not as abrupt, that might not be as severe, but still ends up with closing it within a year or two and rolling out that option 2C to truck from Shady Grove, so we have the most flexibility in terms of what landfills to use, and can pick ones that aren't doing like we're currently doing, which is dumping on a very populated Black community, and instead pick more responsible landfills that are not a violation of the Civil Rights Act, not affecting as many people, and having other benefits as the many that we outlined in the Beyond Incineration report when we looked at the options. Finally, I think it's important to set a date for closure so that the composting facility in Dickerson can be available under the agreement with Sugarloaf Citizens Association. That's important to move forward on zero waste. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Elad Fernberg.
Hi everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to give my testimony today. So I'm a resident of Montgomery County and a volunteer with Zero Waste Montgomery County. So I'd like to draw your attention to section 5.2.4 of the 10-year plan that states the requirement that the plan promote public health, safety, and welfare. And this is in addition to what all the other speakers have been saying, is in direct opposition to continuing to incinerate our trash for another 7+ years, when a safer solution is available almost immediately by transporting our trash to a landfill. and not waiting for other zero waste activities to be implemented first. And I'm concerned that the DP has relied on ReWorld to provide them with emissions information. ReWorld and the current county consultant Arcadis use the WARM model to evaluate waste management strategies. This deceptive model has been used for years to prop up and justify incineration of trash. Under the Biden administration, this model came under scrutiny for major flaws that cause it to conclude that incineration is better than landfilling. It is currently undergoing revision based on the first ever peer review in 2023. A major flaw found in this model is that it allows the erasure of about half of the greenhouse gas emissions from incinerators. This is bizarrely justified by reasoning that anything made of biogenic material will regrow and therefore does not need to be counted in the emissions. It is thus that when CO2 and methane emissions are reported by ReWorld, they don't report half of them. When they compare their emissions to landfilling, however, they count all of the biogenic emissions from landfills, even though 75% of the methane gas emissions from landfills are captured for energy usage. Further, EPA has issued a statement making it clear that the WARM model is a high-level screening tool that should not be used to make local decisions on incineration versus landfilling for a given community. For example, incinerators sometimes come out looking better than landfill because it is assumed that their electricity displaces fossil fuels on the electric grid. However, in Maryland, incineration does not displace fossil fuels. It displaces wind and solar energy, and that's because the state law requires utilities to buy electricity from renewable sources, and Maryland considers incineration a renewable energy source, the same as wind and solar power. And finally, the WARM model only looks at greenhouse gases and not other of the many, many toxins that are put into the atmosphere through incineration. There is a peer-reviewed life cycle assessment tool called the MEBCalc model that is being used in many municipalities around the country that gives equal weight to all emissions from both landfill and incinerators. This model was used in the 2020 Beyond Incineration report requested by the county executive to compare Montgomery County's incineration to regional landfills. And that report showed that our incinerator is twice as polluting as delivering our trash to a regional landfill, including the emissions from diesel trucks and rail haul. So in conclusion, I'm highly concerned that none of this information is reported in the 10-year solid waste management plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Sue Carr.
Hi, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. In section 5.3.4, the plan states that the county is implementing a systemic process to close the incinerator. But they also, in the next section say that they will likely write a new contract beyond 2026. We now know that they have done this and they would like the county council to approve it. This is contract for 5 years. If the extension goes forward and the county plans to continue to poison the community, then at a minimum, additional scrubbers should be added to the incinerator to reduce the nitrogen oxides to the amount that is now required on any new construction. The Montgomery County incinerator is emitting 90 ppm of nitrogen oxides. The new construction requirement is no greater than 45 ppm. Our emissions causing asthma, respiratory disease, and cancer, and double that of what it should be. Every other pollutant, such as arsenic, lead, mercury, dioxide, formaldehyde, can be reduced by additional scrubbing technology. This should be implemented if the county insists on continuing to burn the trash. What price tag does the county put on the citizens' health? In addition, continuous monitoring technology should be added to the stack so that all of these pollutants can be evaluated in real time and publicly available. It is my understanding that they're only monitoring once a year and under very controlled conditions, and there is no accountability for when the trains shut down and the trash is transported via trucks, which pollutes the air even further. There are more toxins being emitted from the trucks that remove the trash when all the rail systems are not operating at capacity. The air pollution and the increased traffic did not align with the ag reserves culture, and it is not considered. I've been a Montgomery County resident for over 35 years, and I love where I live. I just don't like the trucks and the trash and the air pollutants. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Next, we have Robert Huntington.
Hello. I also live in Dickerson, and I want to talk about the monitoring emissions from the incinerator. Section 5.2.8 of the plan is missing the data produced by continuous monitoring of the emissions that are released from the incinerator. Of all the aspects of solid waste management, burning our trash and thus polluting our air is the most hazardous operation. This data should be prominently reported in this plan. Furthermore, and even more disturbing for me, ReWorld continuously monitors only 4 emissions, and only 2 of them are actual harmful pollutants. There should be continuous monitoring of all emissions, and that should be publicly reported to the county council, the community, and the MDE. Now more than ever, this information should be available on a day-to-day basis, not just a once-a-year stack test that's carefully controlled. We've been told by ReWorld employees that because of the age of the incinerator, that the boilers go down every week or 2 for maintenance. Every time a boiler is stopped and then started again, there's a significant increase in emissions from the incinerator that does not occur when it's running over a long term. We therefore have very little accurate information about just how polluting this incinerator is. Also, I'm very concerned that keeping it running for another 5 years will mean more breakdowns and more unreported toxins released into the air that will be carried far and wide over all of Montgomery County and the surrounding region. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Stephen Finley.
You got me?
Yep,
Can you
you're
hear me?
on, Steve. Yep.
All right, good afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Steve Finley. I have lived in Dickerson for 17 years. Our farm is 5 miles from the Dickerson Trash Incinerator. My comments today are intended to remind council members of the core health, environmental, and climate change related issues surrounding continued incineration of the county's trash. As the council assesses the 10-year waste plan and the fate of the incinerator, these facts must not be put aside. Point 1, the incinerator has been for years and remains the largest single point source of pollution and greenhouse gases in the county. Point 2, the incinerator emits pollutants at greater volumes than are tracked or acknowledged by ReWorld or the Northeast Maryland Waste Disposal Authority. Those pollutants include dioxin, lead, mercury, sulfur dioxides, and fine particulate matter. These pollutants are associated with a higher risk of various forms of cancer, respiratory ailments, and cardiovascular disease. Point 3, the incinerator emits some 600 tons per year of greenhouse gases, 600,000 tons rather, of greenhouse gases into our region's air year after year. Point 4, incinerators are among the dirtiest form of energy production, on a par with burning coal, sometimes worse than coal burning. Point 5, trash incineration is at least 2 times worse in terms of adverse health and environmental impacts than landfilling at sites that meet strict environmental criteria. Point 6, the incinerator's continued operation adversely affects a majority Black community in Virginia, where 150,000 tons of toxic ash from the incinerator is dumped every year, year after year. The cost of harm to health and the environment must be assessed and monetized along with all other costs of trash disposal based on the best models available. Believe that if that is done, the cost of incineration would be double or more that of landfilling. We are aware that such harms and costs are difficult to assess and compare, but it is stated goal of the 10-year plan to, and I quote, provide a clear understanding of financial costs, environmental and public health impacts, racial and social justice implications. Until DEP provides these analyses fully to the county council, we don't believe a decision should be made to extend the incinerator contract for an additional 5 years. Thank you again for the opportunity to testify today.
Thank you very much. I wanted to make sure that Neil Seldman or Ellen Gordon, they're not here. Okay. Then those are all the participants we have for the public hearing today. That public hearing is now closed. Item number 4 is a public hearing on Bill 1-25, Emergency Medical Services Transport Insurance Reimbursement Program. This bill would enable fire and rescue services personnel to inquire about insurance coverage in certain situations, define certain terms related to the Emergency Medical Services Insurance Reimbursement Program, and generally amend the law governing the Emergency Medical Services Insurance Reimbursement Program. A Public Safety Committee work session is scheduled for March 17th, 2025. Those wishing to submit materials for the council's consideration should do so by the close of business on March 10th, 2025. We have one registered speaker for this hearing. Ms. Moses, if you'd like to join us. Yes, you have up to 6 minutes. And if you want to turn on your microphone, you can. Thank you. There's a button right in front of you. Oh, sorry, Ms. Tannenbaum will help you. There you go. There you go.
Okay, so part of my testimony is me reading my testimony and then audio. So, good afternoon, Council President Kate Stewart, Council Vice President Will Jawando, and the rest of the County Council. My name is Rabita Moses. Sorry, just give me a second. My name is Rabita Moses, and I'm here today to address a public safety crisis that this county has ignored for far too long. The abuse of Black women in publicly funded shelters, the silencing of advocates, and the systemic corruption that enables it all. Montgomery County pours state, county, city, and federal taxpayer dollars into organizations like Interfaith Works. Yet the women these shelters are meant to protect are being abused, coerced, retaliated against, intimidated, and denied basic human dignity. Public safety is not just about policing, it is about protecting the most vulnerable. And yet, in public funded shelters like Interfaith Works, women, many of whom are disabled, elderly, veterans, domestic violence survivors, trafficking survivors, women living with mental health conditions are subjected to mental and emotional abuse from shelter staff and directors, threats of food deprivation as punishment for speaking up, coercion and intimidation where women are told that if they advocate for themselves or seek help from outside advocates, they will not receive their housing vouchers. The use of police as a weapon of fear rather than protection against shelter residents. If taxpayer money is funding these shelters, why is the county allowing these abuses to continue? Why is public safety only a concern when it benefits the wealthy and well-connected, but not when it comes to protecting the women in crisis? Rather than listening to the impacted women, Montgomery County officials, including some of you in this council, have chosen to meet in secret with Interfaith Works leadership, the very people responsible for the abuse. Instead of transparency, the county is collaborating with the oppressors rather than the victims. Instead of holding shelters accountable, the government works to silence the voices of those trying to expose the truth. I have personally experienced retaliation for advocating for the right of the most vulnerable in Montgomery County. I am no stranger to political work. I worked on the successful 2018 campaign of both Councilmember Will Jawando and County Executive Mark Elrich. But as soon as I shifted my focus to advocating for the women at Interfaith Works, the very leaders I helped elected stood silent while Interfaith Works moves to discredit and isolate me. Courtney Hall, Executive Director of Interfaith Works, sent letters to multiple partners and contacted some of you in this council to undermine my advocacy. Instead of addressing the serious concerns raised, the county government and county council continued their relationships with Interfaith Works leadership, protecting them while ignoring the women they abuse. When Christine Hong falsely claimed an investigation found no wrongdoing, she failed to disclose that she worked for Interfaith Works for 17 years. She never recused herself, proving that there was never a real investigation, just a cover-up. This is how Montgomery County deals with public safety concerns, by suppressing and retaliating against those who speak out, instead of holding the powerful accountable. Punished for exercising my tenant rights, the retaliation I have faced does not stop at the shelters. When I stood up for my own tenant rights, I was met with further abuse and targeted retaliation. My racist and sexist landlord repeatedly denied my disability accommodations, despite the Maryland Department of Health telling him to do so. When I continued to advocate for myself, my landlord refused to renew my lease and filed a tenant holding over case to evict me. The Office of Landlord-Tenant Affairs has not assisted me because Christine Hong, when she and I were on good terms, referred me there. But now that she works to protect Interfaith, Office of Landlord-Tenant Affairs has refused to act to help me. Because of this county's failure to protect tenant rights, I am now facing eviction as a disabled trafficking survivor with chronic illness. If I do not have a roof over my head, it could end in fatality for me. I cannot go to a shelter because of the advocacy, and now I'm banned from the shelters. The very county that claims to support marginalized communities is actively ensuring that I and others like me have no options. This is not just about me. This is about the systemic corruption that protects abusers, landlords, and the privileged while punishing those who demand justice. Montgomery County officials are quick to celebrate historical activists when it is politically convenient. During Black History Month, this council and county executive, is that my time?
It is, Ms. Moses. You did have 6 minutes.
That was 6 minutes?
That was 6 minutes.
Okay. Well, since there's no one else, can I continue?
Just wrap up that sentence, please. We have other business this afternoon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry. So during Black History Month, this council and county executive will glorify figures like Harriet Tubman and Martin Luther King at the MLK celebration at Strathmore Theater. Elected officials will proudly honor the legacy of those who fought against oppression, but when Black and marginalized activists in Montgomery County stand up against real injustice today, they are labeled crazy and discredited. History has shown us that those who challenge oppression are always attacked first. Harriet Tubman was labeled insane for liberating enslaved people. Jesus was condemned for challenging corruption. Martin Luther King was called an extremist for demanding civil rights. I have video evidence, testimonies, and documentation of the abuses happening in the Montgomery County shelters.
Ms. Moses, sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. That was our last speaker for this public hearing. This public hearing is now closed. We will now move on to our legislative session. This is our legislative day number 4. Item 6 is the introduction of bills. The first is Bill 3-25, the Homeowners Tax Credit County Supplemental Amendments. The lead sponsor is the Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee. A public hearing is scheduled for March 4th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. I'll say a few words and I'll pass it to my colleagues. We are introducing this bill today to help address residents who have limited incomes or live on fixed incomes and are cost burdened because of the rising property assessments we are seeing. Last year, the council discussed expanding the property tax credit for individuals 65 and older, and we had a very robust conversation, but that bill did not move forward last year for a number of reasons. The need to address the situation did not go away, and in fact, given the property assessments people are facing, we know the need has increased. Working with my colleagues on the Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee, we looked at another mechanism to assist those in need. I'll turn to Councilmember Friedson in a moment, who led the effort last year on the senior tax credit. One of the things that we looked at after the council conversation on that bill was how to move forward with a tax credit and also look at the equity issues that were raised during our conversation. That led us to look at the tax credit known as the homeowners tax credit that is provided by the state, the HOTC. This is a progressive tax credit administered by the State of Maryland's Department of Assessments and Taxation, SDAT, where lower income households receive a larger credit on their property taxes. So the relief is targeted to residents on limited incomes who need it the most. And the bill we are introducing today will expand the credit by raising eligibility requirements for the credit, including the maximum incomes and net worth of households, as well as the assessed value of the property to which the credit applies, thereby expanding who is eligible in the county. The state authorizes counties to grant supplementals to the state credit, and currently the county supplemental is available based on the same criteria as the state credit. So what our bill is doing is expanding the eligibility. By using the HOTC, we do address some of the issues that were raised last year when we talked to the Office of Finance in terms of validating people's income and particularly net worth. And so by using the system we already have in place, we address one of the number of issues that came up last year, as well as looking at how we can help individuals in our community who are lower income and on fixed incomes. And I just want to give a shout out to Mr. Ali on our central staff and on my own staff, Andrew Gelman, who crunched a lot of numbers on this one to see what we could do. And with that, I'll turn it to Councilmember Friedson.
Thank you, Madam President. Thanks to you, and thanks to Councilmember Katz as the Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee for putting this forward together. It's important and it reflects a lot of work that has occurred to get us to this point. The fact remains that property assessments are continuing to rise across Montgomery County. More homeowners, especially those on fixed or limited incomes, are becoming cost burdened and in need of some form of tax relief. In most cases, their greatest asset, their home, is the most significant driver of the rising costs. This year is the 7th consecutive year that property assessments have risen across all Maryland jurisdictions. The value of 97% of Maryland home assessments have increased. Group 1 properties in Montgomery County, which is the group in the 3 different groups that get assessed over a 3-year period under our system, saw a 7.7% increase this year, which includes homes throughout the county from downtown Silver Spring, Tacoma Park and Kensington, to parts of Bethesda and Rockville, and much of the Up County. Over the last 4 years, reassessments have risen faster than at any time since before the Great Recession. Last year, as noted, we had quite a significant discussion and conversation about property tax relief that I had introduced, which was intended to be targeted to those who needed it the most. There were 2 issues that were raised at that time. The equity questions and whether or not it was targeted enough, and also the question of implementation by the Department of Finance. This proposal makes it easier to implement by utilizing the HOTC and is even more targeted than the targeting that we had done previously. Our current tax credit that is now set to expire because of the fact that we didn't take action before for those who are receiving it, that is not targeted in the way in which the proposal last year was intending, and it is not targeted certainly in the even more significant targeting that we are doing here. So we're ensuring that we're focusing on those who need it the most and are focusing on helping our community to be able to age in place and age in community, which is something that I know we all share as a council. So very proud to be moving this forward. Really appreciate and will echo the comments of our council staff. Mr. Ali, I want to thank Ms. Wellens for her work. I want to thank the Department of Finance for their collaboration and support in helping us think through what would be able to be implemented in a seamless way, and look forward to advancing this through the council as we move forward.
Thank you. Councilmember Katz.
Thank you very much, Madam President. And I want to very publicly thank you and Councilmember Friedson for all of his hard work on this as well, and the council staff as we go through this. I'm actually very proud to be a co-lead sponsor along with my government operations colleagues on this. We needed to, and we are having this important conversation, and which is leading to this legislation. As has been no secret, I'm certainly someone that believes we need a legacy provision in this as well to make certain that those who were able to use this stay. And part of what we are going to be discussing is that we realize for those who are retired and living on a fixed income rely on this credit. And it's we certainly all along have realized that we needed to have something in place. It wasn't always easy to come to this legislation, but it was always important. So with that, I certainly look forward to the committee discussions. Thank you, Madam President.
Great, thank you, and thank you for all your work on this. I know it. This is an issue very near and dear to your heart, so I appreciate that where we were able to come. Ms. Wellens, have we covered everything? Is there anything else to cover?
Nothing else to cover. Thank you, Madam President.
All right, and thank you very much for your work on this. I have a couple of colleagues in the queue. Councilmember Glass.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I appreciate the committee's diligent work on this important issue. We've all been receiving correspondence about the SSTAT assessments. I'll just say that there are two main reasons why the SSTAT assessments have increased so much. One, Montgomery County remains a desirable place to live. And two, we are not building enough housing that is putting pressure on the existing housing. And so with that, I look forward to supporting this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Lukey.
Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to request to be added as a co-sponsor, and I am very grateful for all of the work that the committee did on this. This is also something that I've been deeply concerned with for those living on our fixed incomes and our aging population who want to age in place. And I know that you persisted in pushing forward with this and making sure that you did so carefully, thoughtfully, and methodically. So I appreciate everyone's attention.
Thank you. Councilmember Balcom.
Thank you. I would like to be added to the bill. I appreciate the work that the GO committee did, not only this go round, but in prior iterations. I also appreciate Councilmember Glass's point about that the tax increase has two components to it. Appraisals and the rate, and sometimes that's confusing for our residents. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sales.
Thank you, Madam President. I too would like to be added as a co-sponsor and want to commend the GO committee for their work, including the updates to ensure that this will work for our residents.
Thank you. Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez.
Thank you for your time. Please, I'm as a co-sponsor. Thank you.
Great. Councilmember Albanaz.
Thank you. This one's got a pretty good chance of passing out of credit, I'd say. So I really appreciate the committee's efforts. This is a very serious issue. It's impacting residents in a myriad of different ways, particularly those on fixed incomes. And so anything we can do to provide any sort of relief within reason is something we should pursue.
Great. Thank you. Councilmember Glass, you coming back around?
I've been told that in my praising of the committee, I did not actually explicitly state I'd like to be listed as a co-sponsor, so there you go.
All right.
I would.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right. Seeing no one else in the queue, this bill is introduced. Thank you very much. Ms. Wellens, and you're up for the next one too. The next bill for introduction is Bill 4-25, Administration Surveillance Technology Acquisition and Use by the County. Lead sponsors are myself and Councilmember Mink. So far, co-sponsors we have are Councilmembers Balcom and Lukey. A public hearing is scheduled for March 18th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. I will just say quickly before turning it over to Councilmember Mink that our work on this bill together started when we were discussing the Drone as First Responder program. And I think as we went through that, really a successful partnership with members of our community and the police department, we knew that new technology is always advancing and coming online and can be used in ways and deployed to help advance our public safety goals. And because it is advancing rapidly, we need to make sure that we have good procedures and guidelines in place to protect people's privacy and their civil rights. And so this bill grew out of those efforts, and our goal is really to establish a transparent process for the county's acquisition and use of new public safety technology, and really to safeguard the privacy and civil rights of our residents. I'm going to turn it over to the Councilmember Mink to go into the details of it, but I just want to thank her and her office for the partnership on this bill.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And likewise, appreciate your partnership, Council President Stewart, starting back in that budget process, a couple years ago. And I also want to appreciate the partnership of MCPD, who engaged at that time with the community as well as with council members to really do what we had asked them to do at that time, which was to go out in the community and be very clear about what they were looking to do with the Drone as First Responder program and what they were not looking to do. And then we were able to make sure that their policy was responsive to the concerns in the public, and then to get those codified at that time through the budget process. So this provides now a mechanism that we can use to do that whenever the county is looking to use surveillance technology in a new way. So we did work closely with MCPD, as well as ACLU National, the ACLU of Maryland, and the Silver Spring Justice Coalition on this bill. So with this bill, when the county wants to make use of technology with surveillance capabilities, or to make new use, perhaps, of a technology that we already have, they'll engage in a community outreach process. They'll generate regulations to make clear how that technology and its data will and will not be used. The public will be asked to weigh in, and those regulations will then need to be passed before the technology can be acquired or used. I'll just note that this bill is especially critical right now as we're working locally here to protect residents and protect our local values from federal policies that seek to harm them. And so getting these pieces in place is really important, and I really appreciate everybody working to get this done as quickly as possible. Again, especially thank you to Council President Stewart and her team, as well as to the team in my office, and to Dr. Stoddard and Chief Yamada for their extensive engagement, and for MCPD's support of this bill.
Great. Terrific. And I do want to also add my thanks to the police department, our community organizations you mentioned, and Dr. Stoddard. This was really a collaborative effort. Councilmember Sales.
Yes, I would like to be added as a co-sponsor. I didn't see it reflected on the agenda. Thank you.
We'll make sure to add you. Terrific. All right. Ms. Wellens, anything else on this bill?
Thank you, Madam President.
All right. Excellent. All right. We are moving on now. The rest of the afternoon is Councilmember Minks. She's got two more bills in the queue. She's been holding out on us the last couple of months. Our next bill for introduction is Bill 5-25, Demolition Tax for Affordable Housing Production. The lead sponsor is Councilmember Mink. Co-sponsor is Council Vice President Juando. A public hearing is scheduled for March 18th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. I will turn it over to Councilmember Mink.
Yeah, a lot happened very quickly. Thank you to Council Vice President Juanda for co-sponsoring this bill. When single-family homes are demolished in Montgomery County, their replacements are typically sold for more than double their pre-demolition price. And this transition to more expensive housing can and should be used to fund the construction of affordable housing. So this bill will establish an excise tax of $20,000 on the demolition of single-family homes, which is in line with the demolition tax in other jurisdictions, with the funding directed to the production of affordable housing through the Montgomery Housing Initiative Fund, or HIF, earmarked for the construction of affordable housing projects. And the acronyms get a little bit confusing, but bear with me. The HIF, the county's HIF, funds affordable housing production through HOC's, the Housing Opportunity Commission's Housing Production Fund. And the Housing Production Fund allows the county to leverage its bonding authority via HOC to capitalize $100 million in funds for less than $2 million per year in direct costs to the county. At the Housing Production Fund's current level of funding, over the next 20 years, we expect to produce over 6,000 units of mixed income housing owned by HOC. And as those funds revolve, we'll continue to help finance construction in perpetuity. Estimates show that this revenue source could generate an additional $4 million per year for that effort, which has already been shown to be so successful. So again, thank you to Vice President Jawando for his co-sponsorship, and to the numerous community organizations that have endorsed the bill. And I'm realizing that I'm missing some, so I'm not going to name all of them, but I will get that to you all later, and look forward to the conversation.
Terrific. Ms. Wellens, anything to add? All right, great. That bill is introduced. Next, we have the final bill for introduction today, which is Bill 6-25, Consumer Protection, Defective Tendencies as Deceptive Trade Practices. The lead sponsor is Councilmember Mink. Co-sponsors are myself, Council Vice President Jawando, and Councilmember Lukey. A public hearing is scheduled for March 4th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. I will turn it back to Councilmember Mink.
All right, thank you to all my colleagues who have co-sponsored, and to the broad coalition of community organizations who have also endorsed the bill, including McGeo, SEIU Local 500, Action in Montgomery, CASA, the Muslim Community Center, MCC, the Islamic Society of the Washington Area, ISWA, the Enclave Tenant Association, Jews United for Justice, Everyday Canvassing, Progressive Maryland, and the Housing Initiative Partnership, or HIP. When I first took office, and I'm sure you all have seen this, when I first started canvassing buildings to make sure residents knew how to reach us, we can see firsthand the appalling housing conditions that are prevalent in some of our rental properties. And critically, those conditions that I saw then, that we're seeing now, they're already against the law. So even at that time, I thought, surely we can remedy this, right? We can crack down to the fullest extent of the law, and we're going to get this taken care of. As it turns out, it is not so. We are currently unable to meaningfully enforce our housing code with those handful of bad actor landlords out there who are determined to not meet that code. To put it in numbers, in FY24, the Department of Housing and Community Affairs attempted to recover over $1.5 million in unpaid fines through district court. The total fines that they managed to collect, just over $100,000. So that's a recovery rate of just 6.5%. Given our inability to collect in district court, we are lucky that any landlords bother to pay up, frankly. As it is, a small number of the worst actors do waste a significant, disproportionate amount of county staff time for years on end as they continue pitching their buildings to prospective tenants as safe, healthy, and even luxury dwellings. So how could it be that we don't have the tools to enforce our own housing laws? Well, currently, landlords are specifically named as being exempt from county consumer protection law. So purveyors of what's generally a consumer's largest expense are exempted from consumer protection law and can continue taking payment for goods or services without delivering the goods or performing the services. Removing this exemption will mean that the county's Office of Consumer Protection can work with the county attorney to take the most egregious cases of repeated noncompliance before circuit court. It will allow the county attorney to present a complete picture rather than fighting for one citation at a time, all without tenants having to spend time in court, be singled out, and face potential retaliation. It's a simple, fair, tidy piece of legislation, and it will be a game changer for enforcing our housing code.
Okay, Councilmember Jawando.
Thank you. Just want to appreciate Councilmember Mink for her introduction of all of her bills today, particularly these last two related to building more affordable housing, which I was proud to co-sponsor, and this bill, which is really, really important. I just can't overstate how disproportionate the power imbalance is for the renters who are impacted here by, again, a small amount of properties that we've tried to get at through a lot of ways, through our troubled properties legislation, and through giving more money to DHCA for enforcement. But this loophole is one that needs to be closed, and will give more weight to our Office of Consumer Protection and our county attorney to enforce the law already on the books, and really emphasize that everyone deserves habitable housing for the nearly 40% of our residents who rent. So thank you for introducing it.
Great. Ms. McCartney Green, anything to add?
Nothing to add.
Great. Thank you. All right. Seeing no other speakers, this bill is introduced. Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item number 7, there are 2 bills for final reading today. The first bill is Bill 25-24, Contracts and Procurement, Prohibition Against Human Trafficking Enforcement. The Government Operations Fiscal Policy Committee recommends enactment with amendments. I will turn it over to the lead on this, Councilmember Lukey, in a moment, just to let you know what we did on government operations and fiscal policy. We discussed the bill, but particularly discussed 2 amendments that were favorable to the lead sponsor, Councilmember Lukey, that were suggested by the county attorney and procurement. One was to clarify and expand the scope of the bill. The other was to clarify and limit the enforcement responsibilities of the Office of Procurement. And then finally to clarify the causes for debarment or suspension. Overall, in general, the bill would require procurement bids and proposals to include certifications of compliance with human trafficking laws. And I'll turn it over to Councilmember Lukey.
Thank you, Madam President. And yes, so the amendments to the bill, I want to thank the Office of the County Attorney and Mr. Ogorzalak. See, I did it right this time. And Director Shetty from the Office of Procurement for their collaboration on making sure we could refine this and clarify things to make it make sense. I want to thank the Human Trafficking Prevention Committee for bringing this as a potential tool to my attention. Prince George's County passed a similar but different law last summer, and the federal government, well, the federal government of before times also had this in place. We'll see what happens. But we need to do what's right here in Montgomery County and make sure that we are taking advantage of different ways of highlighting and emphasizing and putting a spotlight on human trafficking issues so that we are raising awareness and making sure we are holding the businesses that do business with the county to the highest of standards. It's a small step, but it's a significant step in making sure our businesses are crossing their T's and dotting their I's in an effort to prevent and reduce abuse against vulnerable people in our county and in our region as a whole. And I've often had people say, well, they just don't think that happens in Montgomery County at all, that trafficking's not an issue. And I know my colleagues have heard me talk about my work on the Human Trafficking Prevention Committee and in the body works inspections that are done under a local county law that allows that. And, you know, I can name 5 places right now, 5 areas of the county, Olney being one of them, which is in my district, the Kentlands, Gaithersburg, Germantown, and Rockville as 5 places where I have personal knowledge and experience of where there were violations. That's a problem. And so people don't even notice that things are happening in plain sight. So this is just another step that we can take as a county government to emphasize the importance of this issue and to make sure we are doing what we can to protect vulnerable people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Lukey. And Mr. Ogorzalak, is there anything else we need to address on this?
Nothing to add.
All right, so we have a recommendation from the Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee. There are no other people willing to speak on this, and so we have a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, will you call the vote?
Councilmember Lukey?
Yes.
Councilmember Lukey votes yes. Councilmember Mink?
Yes.
Councilmember Mink votes yes. Councilmember Sales?
Yes.
Councilmember Sales votes yes. Councilmember Friedson?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedson votes yes. Councilmember Glass?
Yes.
Councilmember Glass votes yes. Councilmember Katz?
Yes.
Councilmember Katz votes yes. Councilmember Albornoz?
Yes.
Councilmember Albornoz votes yes. Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez votes yes. Councilmember Balcom?
Yes.
Councilmember Balcom votes yes. Councilmember Joando?
Yes.
Councilmember Joando votes yes. Councilmember Stewart?
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart votes yes.
All right. Terrific. Now, for our last item today, and I do see the snow is starting, so I'm going to get through our last item. The last bill for today is final reading for Bill 24-24, taxation, paper carryout bags, and prohibition on plastic carryout bags, the Bring Your Own Bag bill. The Transportation and Environment Committee recommends enactment with amendments. I want to say thank you to the committee. I am so glad we are here today. I feel like I've been talking about this bill for quite a while, and I will turn it over to Chair Glass to walk us through the committee recommendations.
Thank you very much, Madam President. You know this bill inside and out, but I will share for public consumption that the BYO bill will prohibit the use of plastic bags while also increasing the fee for paper bags from 5 cents to 10 cents, with 5 cents being allocated to the retailers and 5 cents being allocated to the Water Quality Protection Charge Fund. Recipients of food assistance programs like SNAP and Women and Infant Children Program WIC would be exempt from the carryout bag fee. The Transportation and Environment Committee unanimously recommended enactment of the bill with technical amendments, and one item that we deferred to full council discussion was what the effective date should be, whether it should be July 1st, 2025 as originally proposed, or be delayed as DEP has suggested for better implementation. With that, I'll turn it back to the bill sponsor.
Terrific. Thank you very much. Ms. McCartney Green, did you have anything else to add up to that?
I just wanted to note that DEP did also provide the updated report concerning the bag tax program in response to the committee looking for something to the number of businesses that were registered, the number of businesses that were paid, and so that is in your report or in your packet on Circle page 105.
Terrific. Thank you so much, and thank you to DEP for quickly turning all of that around. We very much appreciate it. I'll turn to Councilmember Balcom now.
Thank you. I would like to thank DEP for their quick response. One of the questions that we had was how quickly this could be implemented. And looking at the current law, the current bag tax, and making sure that all of our retailers were participating. And so I appreciate the additional information in the packet. And one of the issues was to make sure that all retailers were aware that this was coming and had a chance to comply. That way, it wasn't just the people who knew about it, but to have further communication. So I would like to motion that we do change the start date from July 1, 25 to January 1st, 26, if those are the right dates.
Yes, yes, those are the right dates. I have a motion. I have a second by Councilmember Friedson. Councilmember Alvarez, did you want to speak to this one or another point? Okay. Any questions on the amendment that's on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment, please raise your hand. That is unanimous. Now we'll turn to Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you. I'm very supportive of the bill. I just had a couple of questions, and I appreciate the committee's work on this and the council president's leadership on it. And I know she did a lot of work working with all of the stakeholders to arrive at this point. But there was an issue that I know that we actually had a resolution on, and that was I support the exemption of residents and constituents who are receiving federal benefits from the bag tax. But there was an issue of technology that had been raised by some of the private business owners and advocates on their behalf. And if I could just get a sense of, did we find any other information about that might be helpful for us? Or I think giving a longer runway to actually implement this will help us address this issue over time. But anything that we can do to enlighten that issue would be helpful, just to get some background and context.
Yeah, I think you're referring to the Maryland Renters Alliance that may have put forth concerning the software. And so one of the requirements of the bill is that on the receipt, it would identify bags that were taxed, and then also whether or not you're exempt under the SNAP or WIC. And so through my research and also paralegal on our team helping, looked at other jurisdictions that has this in place and realized that it is a software change or an upgrade that would be required, but that it was doable or possible. And also looked at Prince George's County that also has a provision that requires that the receipt also reflect number of bags, and so there are technology or software out there. The cost, or whether it's minimal, I mean, one of the things was that the bill split the 10 cents of 5 cents to retailers and the 5 cents back to the county. And so without mentioning specific vendors or names, there was a possibility or options out there for retailers to upgrade their systems to reflect that on receipts.
Thank you.
And this would help with auditing. So this was a response to the OIG report in how to better collect information and be able to be more succinct with the reporting. And so this was one of the recommendations, is to have that, so that's clarity there.
Great. And it's not appropriate today, but I'd love to hear more information about how exactly this is going to be implemented, and then oversight moving forward, because that will obviously be an important component to this. But thank you. I yield back to you.
Thank you.
Madam President.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Albanese, and I know we have the whole DEP team here on today, and we really appreciate them. And I know looking at how we do our bag fee is something that they've been working on since we've gotten the Inspector General report, and they have new staff and expanded their capacity on that. And it is something we discussed during committee, but would love to talk to you more about that. So not seeing any other questions, since we've had amendments to the recommendations of the committee, is there a motion to approve Bill 24-24 as amended?
Yes.
Councilmember Glass moved it. Councilmember Lukey seconded it. This is a roll call vote. So Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lukey?
Yes.
Councilmember Lukey votes yes. Councilmember Mink?
Yes.
Councilmember Mink votes yes. Councilmember Sales?
Yes.
Councilmember Sales votes yes. Councilmember Friesen?
Yes.
Councilmember Friesen votes yes. Councilmember Glass?
Yes.
Councilmember Glass votes yes. Councilmember Katz?
Yes.
Councilmember Katz votes yes. Councilmember Albanese?
Yes.
Councilmember Albanese votes yes. Councilmember Finding Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilmember Finding Gonzalez votes yes. Councilmember Balcom?
Yes.
Councilmember Balcom votes yes. Councilmember Jawando?
Yes.
Councilmember Jawando votes yes. Councilmember Stewart?
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart votes yes.
And that is, we passed that bill, and I just want to say thank you to DEP for providing some bags for us today. They are in English and Spanish, and they say, a plastic bag is such a drag. This is just one example of the many types of reusable carry-out bags that our amazing Department of Environmental Protection put out, as well as many of our departments. So thank you so much for all your work on this bill. And I thank my colleagues and the staff who worked on this. And a special shout out to my staff, to Paul Ellis, for all his diligent work on this, and everyone else. And with that, that is our last bit of business for today. We are adjourned. Everyone get home safely, and thank you and have a good evening.
Laugh every day.